Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the cringe-worthy-less RobMotive YouTube channel, featuring the Toyota Tacoma, of course. And what I mean by that, some folks had recently, I listen to you guys, some folks had recently been getting on me about my introduction. They didn't like the music, and it was too long, and all this stuff. So I got to thinking myself, I don't watch the introductions over and over on videos for channels that I, repeatedly go back to. I just skip through it. Or if it's too long, I don't even watch the video at all. I just move on to something else. It's that power. It's great. So anyway, I decided that, yeah, they're right. And why I did it, I have no idea, honestly. But they're gone now. No more cringeworthy introductions. So I'm driving around in the Toyota Tacoma today, and I got to thinking, I get a lot of comments on the channel about the seating and how people don't like the seating. They can't get comfortable. They can't get the seat the way that they want it. What can you do to improve the seating? Now, I can understand that for the Tacomas that did not have the electric seats. There were several years, almost all, of the third generation Tacoma that had manual seats. You couldn't move it this way, that way, or the other, but Toyota remedied that. They put in the electric seats. It's a 10-way power adjustable seat with lumbar. I'm sitting here right now and I can feel that lumbar support in my lower back. And I need it because, you see, I have a bad back anyway. But I don't understand what people are talking about, because they say that they have the generation or the model year of the Tacoma that includes the electronic 10-way power adjustable seats. And they're still complaining about the seat position. And that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because I've messed with the seat a lot. It's always difficult when you get a new truck or any new vehicle trying to get the seats the way that you want them, right? You just have to keep messing with them until you get them the way that you want them. And by the way, speaking of the electric seats in the Tacoma, there's one thing it's missing that I really wish it had, and that is seat memory. Because there's nothing more frustrating than when somebody else gets in your truck, moves your seat, and then you got to screw around. It's like starting all over. You got to start all over and try to get it back the way that you had it, which was comfortable, right? It'd be nice if we had those 3 buttons. I guess there's usually 3 settings for a memory feature in the seats. But I know it's a truck, right? You can't have everything. It's on my wish list. Maybe in the redesigned Tacoma, we'll actually have some sort of a setting. And I'm a little bit spoiled because I have a Mercedes as well. There's a channel for that, Mod Driven, although that is going to be a change over there. But anyway, I have the memory feature in that. It's awfully nice to be able to just touch that button if anybody else messes with it and get it the way that you need it. So in the past, as I mentioned, people complained a lot about the seats in the Tacoma. They couldn't get it comfortable for them. And I think primarily, for me anyway, because I had the same complaint, it was the seat angle. It was always more like this. I always felt like I was sitting like this. And I didn't like it. So I came up with my own remedy, and that was just to raise the back of the seat up a little bit. And there are aftermarket products out there now, seat jacker or something like that, I don't know, costs a fortune. But you can get those and put them behind your seat and change the angle to level it out a little more, which is really what you need. So I think in the end, I had done 2 different ways. I used a solid spacer, and then eventually I went to washers, just stacked washers there with a bit of a longer bolt to get the seat the way that I wanted it. And speaking of my fix, and again, never do any mods that you're not comfortable with. I mean, it's your truck, right? Don't do something because somebody else did it. But there were a lot of people out there concerned. If you got in an accident and that bolt broke loose, you'd go flying and da-da-da. And I'm like, well, first of all, I don't think people understand that your seat belt is not attached to the seat per se. It's attached to the frame. So even if the seat broke loose, you're not going to go flying. That belt is going to hold you and the seat in position, right? Now, it's going to be loose. It might jiggle around a little bit. But I would argue if you're in a bad enough wreck that the seat is going to break loose, you probably have bigger problems. Again, though, never do any mod that you're not comfortable with. If you're afraid of doing something that you think could cause you injury, then why in the world would you do it? Don't do it. But anyway, I did it because that didn't bother me. I was comfortable and confident in that fix, and it did make the seat better. And I know there are a lot of people out there who have done the same thing, either with the aftermarket products or my method or maybe some other method. I know people have actually used hockey pucks. Pretty creative idea. It's about the right thickness. I mean, you only need about an inch and a quarter or so, something like that, to level out the seat. Otherwise, you start to go the other way, and now you're sitting like this looking down as you're driving around. But that was a pretty creative fix, I think, a hockey puck. Nice solid piece, right? So anyway, I just don't understand why people now with the electric seats are still having a problem getting comfortable in the Tacoma. I mean, you can adjust it 10 different ways. Sideways, well, maybe not sideways. I don't think it does this. But, you know, front to back, up and down, the lumbar, the back, all that stuff. This doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I would be curious to know, anybody out there who has the Toyota Tacoma with the electric seats, can you get comfortable in it? Are you uncomfortable in it? And what do you find to be uncomfortable about it? That's what I'd really like to know. One other thing I do want to mention is the seating surface, and maybe they're more talking about that. I don't know. I don't think so, because a lot of people have specified that they're talking about the height, the angle, all that stuff. But the seating surface itself, it's pretty firm. I mean, I wouldn't want to take a 10-hour drive in the Toyota Tacoma for a number of reasons, which we're not going to get into. But it would get pretty uncomfortable after a while, because those seats are pretty darn hard. I could just imagine my wife after a couple, 3 hours. Oh, can we stop? I've got to stop. My rear end is killing me. It'd be like, sit on a pillow or something. Here, take my shirt, sit on that. Anything to keep going. You know, when you're in a hurry, well, not in a hurry necessarily, but when you're on a long distance trip, you can't get there if you don't keep driving, right? I don't know. So maybe that's what they're talking about. And one thing that Toyota does fall short in is the passenger side. You know, they've got no lumbar, they've got no electric seat, they've got nothing over there. It's like the passenger is the second-class citizen. And it's always funny. You know, I raise the seat a little bit. I don't know, it's just comfortable for me. So my wife always sits lower. So it's funny, I see her out of the corner of my eye, and it's like she's doing this when she's talking to me. And that's a bit exaggerated. Of course, I don't sit that high. My head would be hitting the ceiling. I mean, I'm not that short. After all, I am 5'9.5". Leave a comment. Let me know. Again, particularly if you're one of those who has the electric seats and just can't get comfortable. What is it? I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Mod Driven, all about the Mercedes-Benz, for now, and RobMotive JT, all about the Jeep Gladiator. Check them out, and if you're interested, why not subscribe? And while you're at it, smash the subscribe button here too. Thanks for watching. Stay comfortable out there. Bye.